All right, man. Welcome to Q Speaks. So, for you NBA watchers out there, the NBA Finals are almost upon us, and now we're gonna see a new NBA champion crown. This year's champion is going to create the new changing of the guard. We're going to either see Shea with the OKC. We're going to either see they win. We're going to either see the Knicks win, possibly if they're able to overcome this deficit with Brunson and oh my God, Zest Man himself, Cat. And we might see the Pacers win with Tyrese Halliburton, Mr. Overrated, quote unquote, right? So we have all these different variations of the finals that we might see. So, we're just gonna have to sit and wait and watch. But as we sit and wait and watch for these things, it also begs the question if the title of the new face of the league will be given. And I'll answer that question very swiftly. Absolutely not. We're not going to see a crowning of that anytime soon. And I'm gonna tell you why. So we keep hearing these qualifiers being thrown around, such as, you got to be married, off the court life, got to be clean, you got to have aura. And, with these sentiments, there's a lot of merit behind these things of, you got to hold these things in order to be a face of the league. And, I understand some of the sentiments behind it, but I just think that a lot of these sentiments lack substance and they're not really talking about it in depth of what's needed. So I'm gonna get into that, right? So there's a certain formula needed for someone to be the face of the league. These needs to be novelty, aura, on the court performance, and a captivating narrative. This formula has always been associated with the face or faces of the league. So let's get into it. Let's start with the NBA in the 80s, where the NBA got off tape delay and things start to look great for the NBA as being one of the dominating leagues in America. You had Magic and Bird being the forefronts of that time. Both held reigns of faces of the league at that time. Between Bird and Magic, you had novelty. You had a 6'9" point guard who ended up becoming the best passer in NBA history. You had a white boy that could out hoop a nigga and just one of the clutchest players ever. And between the two, you had 8 championships won. You had 6 MVPs and 5 Finals MVPs. And we can't forget about the captivating narrative of black versus white that these two players brought into the league. And obviously, the media played on that. And people behind it, they played on that as well too, the audience. Like, we're not going to act like the audience didn't play a part of it. The ratings showed that people were captivated by it even before they got into the league. So there's nothing wrong with having pride in your culture and wanting to go for someone that looks like you and you want that person to beat the other person that doesn't look like you. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. It brings great competition and it brings a great narrative to be followed. So next we're gonna go into the late 80s, really going into the 90s with the greatest face of the league, the GOAT himself, Michael Jeffrey Jordan. The brother himself is the formula, right? I mean, he changed the whole paradigm of winning. He showed that a guard can lead a team to a championship without a superb big man being on that team. I mean, the man just had aura. He was magnifying. I mean, the nigga could fly. The nigga could fly, man. And there has been 5 different instances of three-peats in the NBA, and Jordan with the Bulls has 2 of them. I mean, his accolades are just through the roof. You can go look him up to see the rest of them, but just one of the best faces of the league that you can have as being one of the ambassadors. And then speaking of three peats, we have the next faces of the league, if you want to call them that, that kind of held that fort down before the next guy came, which was Shaq and Kobe. And they had a little weird faces of the league because when Shaq got there, Shaq was obviously the best player. I mean, doing that three-peat, he won the Finals MVP 3 of those times. But Kobe was up and coming, and he actually began to show his dominance and show that he is going to become one of the best players in the league. Not only that, but one of the best players of all time as well. So you had those two. I mean, you had the narrative of it being one of the most rockiest three-peats ever. Shaq hated Kobe. Kobe hated Shaq. Um, You just had that, right? And it helped bring the league forward. And they held the fort down until you had your next face of the league for him to get ready, which was LeBron James. And LeBron has been holding the fort down. This nigga, the NBA is still trying to have LeBron hold the fort down, being a 40-year-old, which is crazy. But LeBron held the fort down though. And during his reign, he did not get in any off the court issues that we know of, right? And even though he's had his failings in the finals, he had his failings in the playoffs as well. He's shown the courage and the fortitude to bounce back and win. And you can get on him about the team hopping and doing this and doing that, but that in itself was a novelty, right? No player ever in his prime left to go join up with another player in his prime and team up and win championships. And even though I'm one of the believers that they underperformed when he was with the Heatles, and I think he underperformed with the Cavs too, if I'm being honest with you. Even with coming back 3-1, you know, he was supposed to have all these great teams, but the guy has a losing record in the finals. But that's another conversation for another day. But nevertheless, he did hold that torch, and he held that torch until another guy came trying to battle that torch from him, or take that torch from him. And that guy is actually someone who, in my opinion, is very disrespected. And I think once he retire and his time go on, people are going to start to respect him even more. And that's Stephen Wardell Curry. And I mean, I don't even have to speak on the novelty. I mean, the only thing I had to put up is a three. You know what I mean? That's his novelty. Just shooting a three. I mean, the guy actually changed the league. He changed the way how the league is played. And you could say that's for the better or for the worse. I mean, even to take it back to Jordan, when Jordan played, he changed the league. And some people say for the worse because a lot of people start to go into hero ball because Jordan was one of the best hero ball players of all time, just the way how he was able to play. But the only thing that people weren't able to imitate what he does is he's efficient with it. So, anytime someone tries to imitate the original, a lot of times it's not going to look the same. It's going to, a lot of times, be worse. And as we see now, the league is kind of in a bad spot because of all the threes that's being taken and no one going into another type of play. But that's another conversation for another day. Nevertheless, Steph Curry is spectacular when it comes to his 3-point shooting. His hand-eye coordination is amazing. He has helped being a part of a dynasty in the league, which has helped carry the league up into the point where we are now. I mean, his rivalry with LeBron, that was amazing for the league as well. So again, we go back to the formula: aura, novelty, narrative, right? On the court performance. Like LeBron and Curry share these different things. And now we're up to now. The last time one of those guys won a championship was in 2022, which was Curry. And you have to win to continue to show that dominance, for you not to go into irrelevancy. You have to win because that's you play to win the game. The regular season is all good and dandy, but you know the finals or the playoffs, that's really where you make your fame at. Really, in the regular season, you make your name, you get your MVPs, you get your accolades, you get your scoring titles, you get your first team all NBAs, first team all defenses, right? But then in the playoffs where things are ratcheted up, you get your fame, you actually make your legacy, right? So without any of those guys, the last ones, LeBron and Steph, getting that and there being a new NBA champion ever since 2019 actually, we've had a new NBA champion. There's no one that has really kind of taken on that mantle. And as of now, there's no one I see that's going to take on that mantle. I don't see anyone that at least have three of the things that I've named off for the face of the league formula. People keep talking about Ant, but with Ant, his play is too inconsistent. To take it back to what I said in the beginning, his off the court issues are a little bit too flagrant. I don't know if the NBA can market a guy like that. And, you know, he has the aura. He has the aura, but there's really no narrative for him to really go on. And a lot of people talk about all the media narrative, the media like to write narratives, X, Y, and Z, but the NBA itself as an entity, they're not going to discredit the league. I mean, they're not going to discredit the media because the media is what helps continues the league. They help what gives these players names because the media helps create these storylines. The storylines are what people like me, other fans, they decide to latch on to watch. You want to see how this story is going to unfold. You know, all the NBA, all sports league is just drama for men, right? We want to see who's going to win, who's going to fall, who's going to overcome this trial, who's going to fail a trial, but then come back and overcome it again. What's going to happen when this player gets traded? What's going to happen when this player get in? It's just so many different storylines that can come, and just seeing it all the way through. And the NBA Finals is like the storybook ending of it. I know I kind of went off on a tangent there, guys, but y'all know that's kind of what happens here. But just to get back on the point of the face of the league, last off, I left off of Anthony Edwards. I don't see that happening. Shea has to play, but there's no narrative for him. He has the MVP now. He has a chance to win. I will say the jury is still out for Shea. Anything can still happen. I'm not sure. Tyrese Halliburton, the jury is out for him as well. But if these guys can't win another champion, at least in the next 2 to 3 years, then I just don't see it. The NBA really needs a Caitlin Clark. That's what the NBA needs right now. Caitlin Clark really embodies that formula that I'm talking about. She has aura. Her on the court performance is great. She's novelty. We never seen a woman basketball player just play the way that she does. She has a very game that's similar to Steph. Like, we're just not used to seeing a woman play like that, right? And then you have the narrative, the whole white girl busting these black girls' asses, right? Anytime race is included, that's gonna it's gonna shoot a narrative so fast, and you know, it's really good for the league though. We're not gonna act like it's not. It really is good for the league because it helped. That's what helped captivate the audience and gets the attention of people. And she garners a lot of attention, and the ratings speak for itself. So the NBA really needs Caitlin Clark. They're kind of looking for Cooper Flag now that he possibly may be that. I don't think that's going to happen, in my opinion. I mean, Zion Williamson was supposed to be the next. He had a lot of hype behind him. We see now he getting caught up with these 304s and he can't put the plate down. And now he got a pending lawsuit. So the jury's out on him. It's over for that, brother. But we're going to see, will there be a face of the league? Will a new player come and kind of take on that reins, or will we have one of the guys that's I mentioned already, Shea or Halliburton? Will one of those guys end up taking the reins of it, or will the NBA just kind of run into obscurity where it is not going to happen? Or, however, or will a non-American win or gain that title, a face of the league? Find out next time on the NBA. It just we don't know yet, so we're gonna end up finding out. But we know we're gonna stop right here. Those are my thoughts. That's my formula, and we're gonna see what happens. I'll talk to y'all guys later. Peace.